are back, episode 62. I'm resting my beard on the microphone. I am your host of the We Are One, You Are Two PlayStation and Video Game Podcast. Really just a PlayStation podcast. I still don't know why I say video games. But anyway, I'm your host, Rob Fanzo, as always. I'm joined once again by my co-host from another state, Matt Rhodes.
Hey-o. I mean, you can still say video games. We talk about other things, non-PlayStation.
Yeah, we do on occasion.
We mention the Switch and the Xbox every once in a while.
Yeah, we do.
That's encompassing video games.
That's true. I shouldn't say that I was resting my beard on the microphone. I should say that my beard reaches the microphone now. And so I have to do like this angled thing like this, because if I don't, you know how it is. You have a beard.
Oh, I have a glorious beard at the moment. It is pretty fantastic, actually. I should send you a picture of how glorious it is. It's probably, if I plucked out a hair, that said hair would probably be 4 to 5 inches long.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that when they start to get that long,
it's pretty intense.
They start to fall out naturally.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a cat.
Yeah, the weight of the hair is like, I'm done. Whoops. There's a sensor kitty.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to work on that later. Give me something to do.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry about that. That's a big one.
So, Matt, we've got a great show for people today. I do want to remind you, if you like what you hear, go rate us first and foremost on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Patreon, wherever you find us. And if you want to donate to us, you are certainly welcome to do that as well. We do have a Patreon set up, and if you just want to throw even $1 our way, we're not going to beg you for it, but, you know, we always appreciate it as well. We do this because we love it.
Please, Patreon. Please be our patrons.
Okay, well, Matt's going to beg. I'm not. All right. So, anyway, to kind of get things going here, Matt, we have a great show lined up, like I mentioned. We're going to talk a little bit about PS5, supposedly was a big deal this week. We're going to talk a little bit about Anthem. We're going to talk about Days Gone, God of War, because it celebrated a year, and The Witcher 3, which is one of my favorite things of all time. So, but first, before we do that, as always, why don't we go ahead and talk about what we've been playing?
What we've been playing, indeed, Robert. Well, you know what I've been playing?
Fortnite.
Spider-Man.
What?
Right?
I would have never guessed that.
I know you would have never guessed it. That's why I started with it. Honestly, yeah. So my roommate has been playing through Spider-Man, which, you know, because he finally got it. It was finally cheap enough. He's like, I'm going to buy it. Because he wanted to borrow it from me, but then I remembered that I'd bought it digitally, so he could not borrow it, obviously. So he started playing it. He played through the whole story, and then he's been playing the DLC. Well, here, I stopped playing because I didn't think that I bought the DLC. I didn't think I bought the season pass for it.
Oh, okay.
But apparently, Robert, I did. So I downloaded all the DLC and I started working on that because I didn't realize that I had purchased it. So started on that. Started on some of those challenges and some of the Black Cat storyline, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
So I've only done a couple things, but then I've been doing and this is what I've heard the most the past couple weeks from him out in the living room is those what the heck's her name? That like streamer Screwball, right? Yeah, I think. And so all of a sudden I hear, yay! Coming from like because you have to do those like photo bomb things or whatever where you have to hit the button like just right to get like all the likes or whatever for the photo.
Right.
So I was like, what is he playing? I was like, I swear he's playing Spider-Man, but why are these like little Japanese girls like excited about what he's doing? And you know, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a little like these like teeny boppers are just like yay in the
like
background.
An anime.
So, yeah, exactly right.
So
yeah, I've been playing a little Spider-Man, obviously Fortnite, a little bit of Rocket League. I played like just like 2 games of Rocket League this past week just to kind of reintroduce myself again. But the Rocket Pass 3 came out yesterday. I forgot to get it, so I will buy that. I will purchase that this evening, and then I'll really be back into Rocket League.
I'd like to get back into Rocket League. I've been itching.
Yeah, certainly. And then, what else have I been playing? Anything else?
Yeah, I know what you've been playing. And this transition.
Yeah, Division.
Yeah, we played some Division 2 the other day.
Yeah, we did. Oh, so much fun. I always, like, when I play it with you, I always forget how much enjoyment we get out of it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll play like every once in a while by myself, and I'm just like, it's all right, it's fun. But like playing it together, it's just like so like fun, just running around checking off like control points and running around like lunatics, killing a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I like that I can pick up, and it's not too easy that I'm going to walk through it and go, oh, I'm bored with it after 10 minutes. But it's also not one of those games like Sekiro where I am dying repeatedly and ready to break my controller in half.
Right, exactly. I feel like it's some good middle ground for sure. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been playing for the most part. Although I'm trying to get you to play Fortnite, they do have this new Air Royale. I think it's called Air Royale or something like that. In Fortnite, it's all planes. It's a duos LTM. It's really fun. you just fly around in planes. You have 3 lives. You have 3 different planes. 3 lives worth of planes basically, and then you and your partner fly around the map and try to take down other planes. And it's like this giant dogfight.
Is it still 100 people?
No, it's only 20, I believe.
Man, 100 planes would have been something. Oh my gosh!
That'd be insane. But yeah, I think it's 20 people, so like 10 or so planes. But it's pretty cool because you fly through like these circles, which are the chests. So that's how you collect different or better weapons.
Okay.
And then they have like a healing circle as well, so you can like heal your plane. So I just fly around kind of doing that, and I let the person, whoever's on my wing, my duo's partner, just like shoot at the other planes, and if I can get shots off at planes, I do. But I don't know, it's a lot of fun for sure.
Well, maybe I'll download it and check it out.
Yeah, I think you should. What have you been playing, Robert?
Well, actually, on my Vita, I'm going to start with that first because it is not dead to me.
Ooh.
I've been playing Burly Men at Sea still. I've been trying to get the platinum for that. And so that's something that I don't play more than probably like 10 minutes here and there. And I go through the story like a couple of times, and there's different choices to be made. And I'm actually at the point now where I think I'm going to have to consult a guide because A, I've spread it out over 2 weeks, and B, I've got most of the trophies. And so I enjoy reading like the little dialogue and stuff. It's actually really I really enjoyed it actually a lot. Right. It reminds me a lot of the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey. But what I'm struggling with, or what I want to really do, is try and knock out those last couple endings or those last couple choices. And so I think I'm gonna have to consult a guide for that because it is kind of tough. The other thing I've been playing is Caladrius Blaze, which is a shoot 'em up. It's a vertical shoot 'em up. Okay. And the campaign's only 5 missions long, but there's like 4 different characters with 5 different characters with different storylines. And so you probably can complete each one in like 15-20 minutes if you're good. And I've been going through that, and I actually really enjoy that. It's kind of over the top anime type voice acting, right?
Yeah.
When the one character was like yelling "die" over and over again, this like high pitched Japanese voice, And so whatever the word is for "die" was just hilarious because she said it probably like 10 times. Yeah. But I like it. It's a nice mindless. It's a little bit mindless, and I'm not worried. It's not like other shoot 'em ups. Like Resogun, right? You die, you kind of start all over. Do you remember Resogun? Yeah. Like this one, you die. I haven't run out of lives yet, and I've always started right back where I left off, and it like kicks you right back in, and so it's kind of nice. It's almost eliminates the difficulty challenge, and you can make it as difficult as you want. So I'm still dodging the bullets as best I can, but towards the later levels, I don't even know how anyone dodges those without dying a few times.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, of course, Division 2 with you. I meant to get back to Omen Sight and finally start Super Weekend mode, and I didn't. But I also been playing a lot of Sekiro, and I am officially, after my victory today over a certain boss near the end that's optional, I'm officially 1 optional boss and 1 mandatory boss away from not only beating the game, but being able to get the best ending and being able to say that I have beat all. And this includes mini bosses as well as the regular bosses. Beating all 50 bosses in the game.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was that many.
That's pretty awesome.
So I went on Power PX or Power Pix or whatever he's called. And I looked up and I was like, boss guy. And I'm scrolling. It's like 48, 49, 50. I think there's 52 to be exact.
Wow.
And so
and you only have 2 more?
2 more.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
so I'm about 47 hours in, I guess. 4 of that's probably on the boss that I just finished today.
Yeah.
But once I get him, I got him because you have to get him to get the best ending possible.
Sure.
And so...
Well, it sounds like you're going to finish just in time for Mortal Kombat to come out.
Yeah. And actually, I'm really torn on that because I'm really excited about it, but I know Days Gone is also coming out, and I'm excited for that. But I also really, really keep thinking about how I want to get back to Odyssey. And that's one of the news stories. I don't think I have it in here for the week, but they released a trailer for the last DLC called Atlantis. And it looks like, you know how Far Cry sometimes does those like crazy like mashups or crazy like DLCs? Yeah. This looks like one of those crazy ones for Assassin's Creed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do remember like seeing an article saying something about the DLC is like a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the trailer for it. It's called Fate of Atlantis, I think. Go check it out. You don't have to have any of the other DLC. It doesn't tie in story-wise to anything. And it looks like they just let them go crazy with, like, ancient Greek myth and culture and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm excited about that. I want to get through the main game, of course, first.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Let's move on to the news, shall we?
We shall.
All right, so this is the PS-news. Tons of PS5 news, and that's going to be our talk, so I'm not going to cover it here real quick. I want to kind of save that for our topic of conversation, but I will start off with a game we're all familiar with, and I'd love to know if anybody's still playing this, and so if anybody wants to write in and tell me they're actually still playing this, is Anthem. And this comes via Push Square.
People don't play that game, Robert.
Well, that's what I was reading, actually, because this talks about how the title no longer makes it into the top 40 of the UK charts. So, again, this is from Push Square. They're UK-based. It barely scrapes a few hundred viewers at any one time on Twitch. And a Reddit user put together a survey, and it looks like from over 1,000 Reddit users that 98% of people said they'd played Anthem for over an hour, but 53% said they quit the game completely.
Wow.
Furthermore, 28% said they're quitting soon or they're considering quitting. And so if you do the math, 98% of people who voted in that have played it for at least an hour or more, but 81% of people total have either quit or are going to consider quitting soon.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, if you think about that, Reddit tends to be where the hardcore community stands.
Right, yeah, of course.
Like, people still post about Bloodborne and playing Bloodborne, 4 years later in the Reddit that I follow.
Right.
So, and then the survey results didn't stop there. When asked about the future of Anthem, a whopping 79% said it's concerning, not looking good at all, or horrible.
Wow.
So I don't know. I sense that they can't right this ship, is my sense.
That's kind of sad.
But we'll see.
I mean,
it is sad because they made so many good Mass Effect games.
Yeah.
And then Andromeda kind of fell apart a little bit. And now this is really, really damaging their reputation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Moving on to the next story, the developer behind Yakuza series, an upcoming spin-off Judgment, has revealed the latter's redesigned bad guy. And so Kyohei Hamamura is a feared Yakuza captain in the game, but the actor who originally played him, given his Japanese voice and facial features, was arrested. And I thought this was interesting. He wasn't arrested for selling drugs or possessing drugs, but he was arrested for using drugs.
Okay.
And so, he might not have even had any on him at that point. He might have used them and just been under the influence.
Sure.
And he was arrested and pretty much banned from everything in Japan. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
In terms of like removing his likeness and everything like that. So they redid the dialogue, they redid the cutscenes, everything.
Wow.
And so it's still on time to come out June 25th here in the States, but they totally wiped everything just for that. And I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think of. Just one little wrong step, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's Japanese culture. I don't see anything wrong with that, but that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Number 3, development is coming along quite nicely. It seems like on The Last of Us Part 2. Although we have no idea, Neil Druckmann, the director on the anticipated sequel, took to Twitter to share the very last scene of the game has now been filmed. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily done with all the motion capture, but that today they decided, or that day, a couple of days ago, they decided to film the last scene. And the picture he posted, it was kind of quite funny. He posted a picture of the script, and all you could see was the end. And so he was just messing around with us a little bit. But he did say it was kind of an emotional scene, and I'm sure it was. So we'll see how that goes there. Moving on to number 4. Days Gone is a monster pretty much every sense of the word, and this is, of course, via Push Square. It's going to take up 67 gigabytes of hard drive space. But there's also a day one patch, which is 20 gigabytes. So, I don't know if that's going to replace that 67, part of that 67, or add on to it. So you're looking between 67 and 90 gigs. Not a shock at that point. I'm actually kind of shocked it's lower, to be honest. When you think about Red Dead and some of those other ones. Next story, God of War is a year old this month.
Wow.
And have you finished it yet?
Nope.
No. I think I'm going to go back and go through and get the Valkyries and everything.
Oh, yeah?
I thought about that. I think I might do that after Sekiro.
Okay.
That and Odyssey. But it's a year old this month. Sony didn't just stop with free themes and avatars. Board game developer Kaman has announced it's working on a card game based on Kratos' Norse adventure. Imaginatively named God of War, the card game.
Wow.
Yeah. And so this is what they said. They said in God of War, the card game, players take on the role of Norns, as they try different combinations of heroes and events in order to stop Ragnarok. Each game is a new attempt to find the right key to saving Midgard from destruction. 1 to 4 players must work together, embodying mighty heroes such as Kratos, Mimir, Atreus, Brock, and Sindri, and Freya. They will fight enemies and bosses from the popular God of War video game, but combined and remixed in exciting new ways, creating unique what-if scenarios every time they play. So I'm kind of excited about that. I love board games. That's the kind of board game I probably have to play by myself because I don't think anyone I know would want to play that with me. But I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next one. Konami announced a trio of retro collections. I don't know if you saw that last month, coming to PlayStation 4 to celebrate 50 years. But they just gave more details on the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, including the release date, which is May 16th, and all of the titles. And so if you want to see those, you can look at those online. It's everything from Castlevania to 2 to 3 to 4 to Bloodlines, Dracula, to The Adventure, to Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. And so quite a list.
Cool.
And so Castlevania fans should be pretty happy about that. Speaking of, I guess, the supernatural, Netflix also announced, this is our next story, that it is currently producing a TV adaptation of The Witcher, which we knew, but they hinted and reaffirmed that the show is going to debut before the year's out. So fourth quarter of 2019.
What?
And so I am super excited about that. Yeah. They're shooting it in Hungary, and that was revealed through a conference call. So I'm pretty excited about that. Moving on, we know that Shao Kahn will be included in the roster of MK11 for a while now, but NetherRealm just released a character trailer devoted to the hammer-wielding villain. And so it seems like they're really pushing those pre-order bonuses pretty hard this last week.
I wonder if that's because their sales are down.
Maybe, or maybe they just know that there's some people like me that are on the fence. Yeah. I would love Shao Kahn, but I also don't feel the need to get him right away because I probably will play with him a couple of times and then he won't become my main at all. I'll use somebody else.
Yeah, but if you don't pre-order, can you buy? Do you think you can buy him later?
I don't know. I'd be curious to see that. That would be kind of, I think, upsetting for some people. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do there. I'd be curious. The only other thing I didn't mention that was on the news docket for us here that I saw this week is Sony finally came out and clarified their censorship policy.
Oh, yeah. I definitely read that.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that real quick? You just want to mention it?
I mean, I don't remember much, but other than I do remember.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine.
I mean, I remember reading about how that they acknowledged that there is one. They wouldn't go into specifics as to what it is, but they definitely acknowledge that they have kind of a different kind of a team going through it, and they're making developers switch things around because of it.
Oh, okay. See, the one I read is actually much more detailed.
Oh.
They said that it was to protect young people and that they were worried about how it would look, because this came from the Wall Street Journal. They actually talked about this. They said that it was in response to cultural shifts brought about by the Me Too movement, the increased visibility of video game live streaming, and they wanted to avoid promoting games that disparage or objectify women or contain sexual content, and they're worried about becoming the target of legal and social action. And so they said that they wanted to protect the children as well.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting about that is then they're like promoting a game like Mortal Kombat where you're ripping somebody's face off and eating their brain.
Yeah.
And so a little hypocritical, I think.
Well, I mean, I think, but see, that's kind of the culture here, though, right?
Yeah, and so
where violence and ultra violence is okay, but anything sexual is not. Where in Europe and like the UK, it's the opposite. They understand that sexuality is a normal thing, and violence is gratuitous. Can be gratuitous. Not that sex can't be either, but I mean,
Yeah, that's why the Japanese version of the game, hasn't been altered at all because of that. Because they also have a different take on that over there as well.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, that's via Wall Street Journal and Business Insider. If you want to look that one up, you can. I just wanted to mention that one real quick because we finally got an answer.
I still thought it said, because now that you read specifics from that, I do remember that was the article that I read, but I sworn that towards the end or somewhere they said something about they reached out about the exact specifics of their criterion, and there was no comment from Sony.
Yeah, that's the answer they gave, and I guess they wanted more detail, and Sony was just like, well, that's enough.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, all right, that's it for the news. Quite a week.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move into the talk.
Ooh.
All right, so you and I had some disagreements this week.
Oh, we
but
did.
I thought
Robert.
we could talk about it. First off, to catch everyone up, Wired released an interview with Mark Cerny, who, if people don't know, he was responsible for helping design the PS4, and so he's the kind of like their chief architect, I guess, if you want to call it that. And so he's the lead system architect. He basically mentioned several things that I thought were really important. Some of it's gibberish that I don't understand. I know a lot about CPUs, but I haven't kept up with that. And so, like, the CPU is based on the third generation of AMD's Ryzen line. It contains 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 micro architecture, whatever that means. The GPU is a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family. It will support ray tracing, which is apparently a big deal because that's something they do in films.
Oh, there it is, Robert.
Yes, the ambulance. It's about time for that,
I know,
too.
right?
6:30.
Yeah,
It's about right.
It's about right on time.
So anyway, it'll support ray tracing. It basically models the way that light travels through environments. And so that's usually something they do in Hollywood visual effects and films. And it's usually in high-end processors. But apparently, this is going to be new for game consoles and for a lot of other stuff as well. So that's kind of a big deal. If you get a chance to look that up, it's amazing what it looks like it'll do to games. They went back and modified certain games to show how much it would change.
What, ray tracing?
The lighting effects. Yeah.
Oh.
Like they did it with the article I looked at did it with like Battlefield, for example, and it showed like the flames that were in the regular version, they're next to the car and they're burning, and in the one with the ray tracing, they're actually reflecting off the surface of the car.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to see, and there's more stuff to it. It's also going to come with a solid state drive. It's going to include a custom unit for 3D audio that he thinks will redefine what sound can do for video games. And he also mentioned it's backwards compatible. Well, he hinted at that. He said VR is important to us, and quote, the current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console. And so it will also apparently hinted at PS4 games being backwards compatible too.
Sweet.
So the thing I'm most excited about is probably the solid state drive. They loaded Spider-Man, and whereas it took 18 seconds on the PS4, on this solid state drive that they plan on using, or one similar to it, it took less than a second. It took 0.8 seconds to load.
That's a lot of time that you get to save.
Well, that's a lot of time because I feel like I spend a lot of time in load screens. That's why I hate dying.
Yeah, it does suck.
Or even fast traveling. Right?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that I forgot to mention, it will apparently support 8K graphics.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, because we haven't even gotten to 4K yet.
Well, I mean, we have.
Well, we have, but I should say we haven't gotten to the point where games are constantly using them.
True.
So anyway, that's all hardware talk. He didn't talk about price. He didn't talk about games.
Hardware talk?
He didn't talk about release. Huh?
Hogware? I couldn't let that one go.
I think I said hardware.
It sounded like hogware.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to roll the tape back on that one and check it out.
Well, suey.
Hardware talk.
No, I like it though. It was good. Either way.
Roll the beautiful bean
Hogware,
footage.
hardware. It's all the same.
Exactly. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Now, where you and I disagreed.
Yes.
And things I want to speculate on is release date, price point, and launch titles. And you and I disagreed on the price points.
Oh, 100%. Tell them
You care to share?
your gross misestimation of the product that you have described.
Let me hear your reasoning, your price, and your reasoning for that price.
No, I want to hear. After you've read all that awesomeness about the console and what it's going to be able to do, I want you to give your price, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you why I'm right.
Okay.
First off, he didn't mention a 2019 release. I'm thinking at best fourth quarter 2020. You're talking 18 months from now.
Okay. I will.
Would you agree with that or
with
not?
that. Yes.
You will.
I mean, let's be honest. Most consoles are released fourth quarter because it's all about Christmas, right?
Yes.
So that That is the safest bet for any console generation. I don't think we have to wait until 2021. I feel like that'd be kind of absurd. They wouldn't be talking about it this early if we were.
Yes.
If we were waiting that long, they would not. They would be very hush-hush on it. And Lord knows...
Yeah, 18 months makes sense,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
And Lord knows that Xbox is definitely coming out with something in 2020, and they're not going to wait a whole year and give Xbox that exclusivity for a whole year.
Correct. So, which the timing was smart because Xbox released information about their diskless system, I think, that same day.
They did.
But no one was talking about it. But anyway, so 18 months from now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
At the rate that technology is developing, by the time that system is ready to come out, all of that tech that they're listing off right now, and half of it is close to being available now or is available, it will be, I think, cheaper. And so I think Sony has learned they don't want the PlayStation 3 debacle of $599 because no one wanted one. PlayStation 4 was the sweet spot at $399, and so that's why I'm thinking $399.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Okay, let me hear your reasoning why I'm wrong.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me tell you why you're wrong. Give me 2 seconds to pull it up.
Okay. What are you pulling up? Some sort of cheat sheet?
Yeah, well, I'm just looking real quick. I'm gonna do an Amazon search for 2 seconds, and
for the parts?
yeah, well, I'm just gonna see right as of right now.
Can I tell you a secret?
What?
I did that before I came up with my price.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did, and then I talked to somebody who just recently built a computer.
Yeah.
And they were talking about their prices, and they were talking about what they put in there. And I thought, okay, and they had got like some good stuff, not top of the line, but they got some good stuff, and it was like $600 some. And then I thought, okay, so that stuff's, a lot of it's newer, not all of it. PlayStation 5 will be the same way. A lot of it's newer, but not all of it. And so 18 months from now, I do think that stuff will drop in price.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong about that. Obviously, it will drop in price. However, looking right now at WD, which is Western Digital, and their price on a 2 terabyte, which, let's be honest, I feel like if Sony goes anything lower than that, people are going to be irate.
See, I think they'll do a 1 terabyte.
Oh, people are going to hate it then. Anyways, I'm getting more inflamed than is necessary. However, I'm going with 2 terabytes, and that's what's in front of me right now. And that is $239.99. Now, if I jump down to the 1 terabyte to relent to your ridiculousness of how 1 terabyte might be, it's still $120. Now, there is no way that they're going to be able to put a video processor that can handle ray tracing, because that's high-end technology. Unless there's some kind of crazy workaround that they figured out, there's no way they're going to be able to put a video card that can process it that kind of technology, and a solid state drive, which is the higher end of the disk drive. Would you agree?
Probably, yeah.
There's solid state, and then there's also disk drives, but disk drives are ultimately cheaper. So I just don't see that happening for less than $499.
Okay, so we'll agree to disagree there.
Yes, wholeheartedly.
And we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I feel like they're already going to take a loss on it, no matter what they do. But I don't think they can take as big of a loss as $399.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I was shocked. Everybody was shocked at how cheap they made PSVR when it first came out. And so we'll see what happens. I'll be very curious. I think Sony has learned the price game. And I think, too, and I might be wrong, but I think maybe Microsoft might dictate ultimately what they decide to do as well. Just a little bit.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see if their price point is, because here's the thing, if Xbox price point is $499, they would have to, I don't know, I feel like they would have to really cut stuff down to undercut Xbox like that. And I don't think, given what they've released as far as details right now, I don't think they'll do that to themselves.
I'll tell you one thing that Sony does have, though. They have a ton of first-party studios that make great games. And so if they take a loss on the hardware, they might make it up in the software.
Yeah, but how big of a loss can you take, though?
I don't know.
Before it's too risky.
Well, let's be honest. Sony has pretty much poured everything into their games division, because a lot of their other divisions, like their phones and their TVs, are not selling the way that they used to.
Well, that's true.
Because they were all overpriced.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll be curious to see that. Here's why I think also you can build up the software side of it to make that. So we both agree on the release date of the fall 2020.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try for like a very similar November, like they did last time, November 14th or 11th or 15th, that same week.
Yeah. Okay.
To celebrate, like, hey, PlayStation 4 is 6 years old. Guess what? Let's jump back a year and do PlayStation 5, or jump back a number, right? Something stupid. Launch day titles. Here's where I mean, there's going to be some indies. There's going to be some smaller studios that make stuff. Here's where I want to know, what are they going to put out? And I have a couple of things I thought about. One,
before you get into
Tsushima.
Before you get into the games, real quick. Here's a crazy idea, because I feel like a lot of companies are doing this, just like with phones and all that kind of crazy stuff. I will relent a little bit on the price, but if it's going to be $399, I feel like there's going to be two options, like they did with PS3. There's going to be a $399 price point and a $499 price point.
I could see that, with one having like a terabyte and the other one having 2 terabytes. Yep. I would be okay with that, actually.
Yeah, and I would too. And I would probably, like I did with the PS3, I would buy the one with the bigger hard drive.
See, I would do the opposite, because I have this external. Mm-hmm. And since it's going to be backwards compatible, I can keep my PlayStation 4 games on there, clear off the ones I don't want, and I'd still have a 2 terabyte external.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I'd have 3 right off the bat.
Okay, fair enough.
For a cheaper price. Yeah. But anyway, launch day titles. I was thinking about this. We've got Ghost of Tsushima that has yet to come out. Last of Us Part 2 has left to come out. Death Stranding needs to come out. They're clearly working on New Horizon Zero Dawn, and they're also working on some sort of multiplayer game over at Guerrilla Games. And so that's 4 different games. 5 different games. Yeah, 5. I had to count that again.
Wait, what?
I think one of those 5 is a launch title. Not more than one of them. I think one of them is. I don't know which one. I don't think Last of Us Part 2. I think they're going to say that is like PS4 swan song, like they did with
PS3. Yeah. I would be shocked if they did not do that.
I think Death Stranding would be hard, because Hideo Kojima, that would put him on a deadline.
Mm-hmm. Which
so
he's
I'm thinking
not good
either
at,
Ghost of Tsushima or some sort of multiplayer title from Guerrilla Games.
Well, who's doing Ghost of Tsushima?
Sucker Punch.
Which also did
Infamous.
Exactly. Which is also a launch title for what system?
The 4. Well, it wasn't a launch title, was it? It came shortly after, a couple months.
Was it?
I think it was a couple months.
Oh, maybe it was. I thought it was. I sworn it was a late launch.
I thought it was February of the following year.
That was the second one, Infamous 2, right?
Well, Infamous Second Son.
Yeah.
Let me look at real quick in here. March 21st, 2014.
I could have sworn it was. Was it supposed to be?
I don't know. I thought.
Maybe it was supposed to be and it got pushed back. And maybe that's what happened with Ghost of Tsushima.
So, yeah, I don't know, right? That's one of the things I think is one of those... I'm sorry. Why did I always think PlayStation 4 launched in 2014 when it actually launched in 2013?
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
So it'll be 7 years old, which will match the life cycle of the PS3.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. Anyway, so I think it's either be Ghost of Tsushima, which I don't know, that might be, again, launch window, but not launch, or whatever Guerrilla Games is working on. I don't think it'll be Horizon, but I think the multiplayer title will be. And I don't think it'll only be one, or more than one. I don't think it'll be more than one, because I can't imagine Sony wanting to step on its own toes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? I can't imagine them going, well, let's release Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, and then for people who love multiplayer, let's release the Guerrilla Games all on the same day. And while people love to have more than one title to play, some people, when buying a new system, can only really afford one title. And I think you hurt your software sales. And if there's anything we've learned from Sony, they love to spread out their exclusives throughout the year, so it always feels like you have an exclusive to play from them.
Yeah, no, they're really good about that stuff. I really don't think that there would be something. I don't think they would stray away from that business model.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I just wanted to point that out. That was the last thing I wanted to mention regarding the consoles. And I do think that Sony knows what they're doing. And I think the backwards compatible. I think launching all that information has not. The smartest thing for me was making sure they hinted at the backwards compatibility, basically confirming it, and the PSVR stuff, because that's going to allow people to continue to buy their software over the next year, whatever it might be, without going, well, I don't know why I'm buying this. I'm going to lose out on the new system, or they're just going to remaster it for the new system.
Right.
I think they learned from last gen, or from this gen, I should say.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, there was a lot of PS4 day one.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
There was.
I looked it up, and then Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty, Ghosts.
Yeah, and so there will be all the third-party titles that come out in November.
Yeah, of course.
I just think first-party, Sony's going to throw one of theirs in as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'd be silly not to.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it gets too crowded. Because you read off a lot of titles there, and they may not want to compete because they want that money for themselves, too.
Yeah. But, I mean, one of those was Killzone Shadowfall. So I could see...
That's true, too.
So that's Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, that's why I also wonder if Guerrilla Games is just going to continue to be their launch title
right.
Company.
Yeah, and maybe it's the multiplayer thing they're working on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's all I've got for that, Matt.
I mean, that's all I got. It got heated for a second.
It did.
I got in an uproar. I apologize for my.
Although I will say, I think our text messages felt more heated about it than that.
That's true. That's true.
You were like, "What? No, you idiot!" Something paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I kept the only other thing I wanted to mention to wrap things up with the talk, and it was kind of tied into the news, was GameStop. I don't know if you saw this, and this ties into Sony exclusives. GameStop mentioned that they are doing a Days Gone 2-day guarantee between April 26th and April 28th. If you purchase it and you do not like it within the first 2 days, you can return it for a full refund.
What?
Even if you opened and played it.
What?
And it only extends to Days Gone and that window.
GameStop is doing some crazy censor kitty stuff.
Well, I think they're doing that because they've lost so much business that they're trying to find a way to pool.
That's what I mean, but what?
I know. All right.
Is that going to become the new norm for GameStop?
We'll find out.
Play it for 2 days?
Yeah, and return
and
it.
then return it?
If you don't like it.
Yikes.
I mean, it's a play. I forget what they phrase it as. Something like a play if you like guarantee or guaranteed to love it. That's what it's called. Guaranteed to love it. They're so confident you'll love the game that you won't return it.
I mean, good for them? Question mark.
I also don't think unless you've got no time, nothing to do, and tons of time on your hand. I don't know that many people are going to beat Days Gone in 2 days.
Wait, say that again.
So I think that's kind of the smart move. Other than people who aren't going to like it, I think you'll easily get people who don't want to return it because they'll try and beat it in 2 days, but I don't think they will.
No way. I mean, what? There's no way.
You have to lose sleep.
I don't know how you'd beat that in 2 days.
Yeah. All right, Matt. That wraps up the talk.
It does. It does.
So, to be honest, the way we're recording, we've actually already read the drop for this week's episode.
Yeah.
And this is going out next week, but we don't have the drop up yet. And so we're going to hold off on that this week. But I do have some Metaquip contenders for you.
Ooh, fun.
So we're going to do some Metaquip real quick.
Okay, all right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a few for you. I've actually got 4 selections.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one that I'm going to read a positive and a negative about here at the end. But let me give you your first 3.
Okay.
So Blank's boss fights highlight the contrived lengths that Blank has gone to in order to satisfy his players' thirst for difficulty.
Okay. Is that a positive or a negative review?
That is a negative review. This is the only negative review this game got.
And are you going to read a positive one, you said?
No, not for this one.
I mean, that's Sekiro, for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Sekiro. It was the only negative one I could find. It basically said Sekiro's boss fights highlight the contrived length that Sekiro has gone to in order to satisfy his players' thirst for difficulty.
You know how I know that's Sekiro, Rob? Because that's my review.
It had like a 40 rating or something like that.
That's the exact review I would give Sekiro if I played it.
It would, yeah. I know. Because you hate those type of games.
That guy was me.
All right. You ready for this one?
Yep.
I don't even know if you know that this game exists. It's a series.
Okay.
This is the latest installment. So Blank attempts to take the franchise in a bold new direction. The latest installment in the long-running series makes too many mistakes to be anything other than a letdown.
Wah, wah. One of those visual novels.
No, it's actually. Did you hear of Earth Defense Force Iron Rain?
What? No.
We read it on the blog a couple weeks ago.
We did?
Yeah.
Ladies and
It's
gentlemen,
gotten
now
mostly
Rob is just
positive
making
reviews,
things
but it has some negatives in there, and that was one of them.
Okay. All right. Never heard of it.
I should have picked one where they talk about giant bugs just to throw you off. All right, your third offering.
All right.
As a remaster or collection, we expected something better, but the quality of the game still is fantastic. If you're thinking about rediscovering this excellent trilogy, it's not a bad option.
Excellent trilogy?
Mm-hmm. This game was originally released on Nintendo DS, I believe.
Oh,
Does that help at all?
no, something Pokemon.
That's a good guess, actually. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Oh, I have seen a lot of buzz of that lately. Yeah, I forgot about that. I've seen a couple of gameplay videos of that, and I'm just like, what is this game?
Yeah, apparently it's very good.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
This last one we definitely read on the blog, actually our last episode.
Uh-oh.
And I told you I was super excited for it. That might be too much of a hint. So here's the negative. Listen to these 2 reviews. I'll read them both. I just want you to see if you notice any trend between the 2 of them.
Okay.
Blank, this is the negative first, and I'll do the positive. Blank is not revolutionary. It feels like a VR advancement of the classic PC point-and-click adventure game, albeit with one with a great look, phenomenal sound design, and a story I'm not ashamed to admit had me choking up a bit toward the end. You won't be blown away by the immersion here, but it's fun to interact with the dollhouse-like sets and just sort of goof around. Like a lot of VR titles, Blank is a shorter experience, but it's a solid one that tells a charming story in a vibrant and colorful world. And then the positive review said, Blank is a wonderful mix of cutting-edge technology and nuanced storytelling that instantly becomes one of the best games for PlayStation VR. Now, while you're thinking about that, what I loved about this is one said it was a mix of cutting-edge technology and nuanced storytelling, and the other one says it was basically just a rehash of a PC point-and-click adventure game.
Interesting. Two very different reviews. I don't know the exact title, but it's that giant one.
Yeah, Ghost Giant.
Ghost Giant, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 out of 4. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all.
I'll take it.
And that's going to wrap it up for us.
That is. Oh.
Yeah, so I just want to remind people one more time, if you like what you hear, go rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you might listen to us that actually has a rating system. Share it with your friends. And if you really feel like sharing $1 with us every month, you're welcome to do that over on our Patreon, but we aren't going to beg you for it. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk with you next week. We'll bring back the PS blog drop once we see what games have come out the past week, and we'll talk to you later.
Wait, I have one more thing before we go.
Sure.
I want everyone to tell Robert how wrong he is about the $3.99 price point. Just message him on Twitter. We are one, you are two.
Well,
let him know.
Speaking of Matthew, since we're talking about the Twitterverse, I did run a poll. The other week. Excuse me, I choked up on my pretzel bar there. I almost had to collapse. But anyway, I thought I'd run a poll just to see what people were feeling about how much they're willing to spend. On their PlayStation 5 based on the news from 2 days ago. 5% of people said $500 or more. 35% said $400 to $500. 40% said $300 to $400. 20% said not interested.
Oh, those Xbox people.
There is still 17 hours left to vote in that. By the time you hear this podcast, that will have closed, of course. Yeah, it probably was the Xbox or the Switch people. So, but that's okay. I don't blame them. They got their machines.
That's true.
All right, man. We're out of here. And until next time, game on.
Game on.
This is the outro.
Music.
I always forget what you do after that.
Outro music for this week. Yeah.
I wanted to steal it from you, but then I couldn't remember what you actually did.
With the half steal. I was just like, oh, he's going to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right.
Couldn't remember.
That's all right. It was good. It was a good start. It was a good start to the outro music.